All right.
Hello, my name is Churon Covington,
I'm Lee. I'm John.
and today we're going to help you solve your problems. So, how many times have you been on your way to work, preparing for that important meeting, then all of a sudden you see a couple brake lights, bam, you're stuck right in the middle of a traffic jam. Today what we want to help you do is help you and your city become more efficient with their traffic problems and also make it easier for you to navigate with construction and other problems. So today we want to introduce you to the Traffic Flow Pro. Now, usually what we see is delayed communication between like the municipalities and the consumers because of wrecks, construction, water main breaks, just any various reasons that can do with the municipalities having to provide a service. We also see congestion on major roads that impede emergency vehicles, traffic congestion in metropolitan areas that affect the efficiency and productivity of local businesses, kind of make it harder for businesses to work whenever the streets aren't able to handle the traffic. Lack of credible method for consumers to find out about related incidents. So usually what we're seeing is ineffective methods such as like they may put it out on the news, but not everybody that's driving is going to watch the news, or it might be on the Facebook site, but not everybody is on Facebook. We also see another problem being driver safety with dealing with traffic jams. So our solution is the Traffic Flow Pro. So basically it's going to be an application that provides users with up-to-date traffic alerts and knowledge of information ahead of time to allow users to alternate between routes. So basically what we're going to do is we're going to provide information about things that are upcoming and things that have just happened to users that are known to take that path or might take that path to help them get around these problems. We also will have alerts for construction. We're going to tell you if the city plans on construction, whether it's next week or tomorrow when you need to know, we'll have a reminder so you won't forget. We'll have how long the project is and how big the project is. Regs will also have the severity and when traffic flow will be back to normal. So if they estimate that the towing companies will have out of glass and everything done within a certain amount of time, we might be able to give it an estimate if we have the right information. Other hazards include city maintenance, major events, natural disasters, so water main breaks, maybe a big concert and a flood that might ruin all the downtown. Opportunity size, now we estimate that there are 82,000 licensed drivers in Evansville, about 4.5 million in the state. So 68% of these adults have smartphone capabilities. So they would be able to use our app. NDOT recorded over 400 work zone injuries in 2014, including 14 deaths. Vandenberg had 7,347 collisions in 2015. So basically with our app is we'll be able to help limit these numbers, so we will have less cops getting injured by cars riding too close when they have somebody pulled over, or construction zone, people are speeding through, or it's too much traffic. We'll help limit these numbers and bring that down. So also provide benefits to the municipality workers. We'll also be able to help with not necessarily collisions themselves, maybe traffic bumper to bumper, side vendors, we could help with that, but the collision itself will be able to help with the aftermath of the collision and help to alleviate some of the problem itself. Important data that we've also found is when we talk to the EPD, they've expressed their own pain, such as the drivers not paying attention to signs, flashing lights. You got drivers only taking one route frequently and get confused and try to go through the blocked area anyway. They don't know how to navigate that, whether they live here or not. They don't necessarily know what options they have. Officers use social media and news to try to alert people, which this probably wouldn't be effective if the people that need to know don't follow your social media or they don't listen to the radio. And then also we have police often are not notified of an emergency up to 20 minutes after it occurs. So what we can do is we'll help make this time faster for getting it from the municipalities, whether it's from 911 to helping them get to the accident or occurrence even quicker. So the next thing we're actually going to talk about is the product differentiation. Lee's going to handle that.
Alright, so obviously there are various other navigational apps out there. Waze is the one we're going to focus on today. Since its origination a few years ago, it's definitely been on the rise, so that's the one we're going to focus on. So with Waze basically, alerts are provided by the consumers. People that are using the app that are currently on the road, they update with cops that are on the road, wrecks, congestion, stuff like that. What we want to do to create more value that sets our app apart is we want to have those alerts from the municipality that are more credible and more accurate for consumers. And we want those alerts, with the timeliness of those alerts, to be coming, he mentioned it a little earlier, prior to when there's big events, prior to those events happening, when construction projects are going to occur, prior to those construction projects beginning, so that consumers know that if they live in this area, that there's going to be a construction project, where and when it's going to start, how long it's expected to take. Alerts can be received while the app is not opened. With Waze, you have to have the app open to see these various incidents that occur throughout the road. So being able to receive those without having the app open, just seeing, hey, there's a wreck or there's traffic in this location, you know ahead of time to go another way so that you don't find out when you get there. And additionally, we found that a big complaint with Waze is a cluttered layout. With all of these consumers adding all these incidences to the application, it's becoming a little bit cluttered for users. So we want to have them being provided by the municipality to limit the clutter. So how is this all going to work? What is the process involved with getting this information from various parties? So basically, depending on the situation, the process may be a little different. But for construction projects, for example, when a construction company is chosen for a particular job and that job is approved by the city, that city, once the job is approved, they will alert the consumers when that job is going to start, how long it's expected to take, and so that they know that ahead of time. So, because prior to when the crew is actually out on the road, it's got to be approved. So there's that little gap between when it's approved and when the project actually starts, that consumers can know that information ahead of time, so they can potentially avoid that route. On the other side of things, with emergency services, if there is a wreck on the road, first responders can communicate that information to the municipality, local government, so that they can say, hey, to consumers, there's a wreck in this area, when it occurred, and then hopefully when that wreck is cleared up and the traffic flow goes back to normal, they also get an alert for that as well. So the key activities to making this all possible, two major ones. So IT support and development is the first one. With that, developing an accessible, user-friendly interface for both the municipalities to communicate and then for a consumer to just use on their device. We think that's very important. Making communication simple and efficient as possible. So maybe even being able to communicate between the parties with a simple click of a button would be ideal. And then, of course, fixing and preventing bugs and making some troubleshooting so that we can further improve based on feedback that we get from the society. And then with marketing and sales, we want to develop a website so that people can find out more about what the Traffic Flow Pro is all about, find out more about it. Raising consumer and competitor awareness, we want the consumers to be aware that there's this out there so that they can understand the added value that we can create that competitors do not. And then finally, displaying the value to the municipality sectors. The municipality is our target market. We want them to invest money in this so that they can make their community safer, to alert consumers of these various incidences. So we really want to show them that value so that they can invest in it. So now I'll pass it on to John. He'll go on to key metrics and the consumer-related stuff.
Thanks, Lee. So, like Lee said, so a lot of it's going to be, IT help. Our key resources for this is going to be data. So, construction, Department of Transportation, and emergency services. So, dispatch those are going to be our main sources of information because we know it's credible and we know that it's reliable. As far as the civilian intel, they'll be able to input their own information. They're technically going to be the first ones to actually give the information to dispatch, but dispatch is going to be the one to actually send out, the police or fire or emergency services such as the ambulance. So that's going to need to be validated by the dispatch first. But all that information is going to be very critical for our resources. And then analytical assistance. So all this information is coming from different people, different sources. It's all going to need to be put into one and then distributed back to the municipality, the end users, essentially. So analytical assistance is also going to be huge for our success with this app. Our key metrics, number of downloads, obviously that's going to show how much people are getting our information. It's going to show how many people are interested in this as well. So the more people that we have, the better we'll be able to differentiate our product, go off of what they want, what they need, and what they're looking for. So another key metric is going to be incidents relayed to the users. So how much information was brought to us, how much information was being brought out to them. So obviously not if there's a big wreck, let's say on the Lloyd Expressway, there's going to be a lot of information coming about just that wreck. So how much of that was actually brought back out, and how much of it was actually reliable to the end user to be able to utilize it. Amount of real-time data, and data being input from the end user. So again, the amount of real-time data is going to be the real struggle with this, understanding what's reliable, what isn't, and then finding out who's going to be putting it in there. The amount of alternate routes given versus taken. So another aspect to our business model is going to be the alternate route. So if they take an alternate route, did they actually take it? And then the end user feedback. So being able to differentiate off of what they want. So our customer relationships, the sales to the municipality, feedback from the municipality, and then adapting and improving off of their feedback. And then consumer channels, you're going to have business, government, conferences, articles, news, media, PSAs, word of mouth, and then indirect advertisements, billboards, on buses. And then our customer segments, again, you're going to have emergency dispatch, local governments, Department of Transportation, and then everyday consumers. And then so essentially to wrap this all up, we want to have an efficient city that's safe and not confusing for the end user when they're traveling down the road. We want them to understand exactly what to do, when to do it, and knowing ahead of time what's going on before they just go out there blind, causing trouble for our police department or our fire department when they're trying to get a vehicle off the road. It creates an unsafe environment, and then to go along with that, work zones as well. DOT takes deaths very seriously, and work zone construction safety as well. So we don't want this to happen. We want green lights all around. Okay, so thank you.
All right.